What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another Serious Angler podcast powered by our friends over at X2 Power Batteries. And as always, I'm your host, Bailey Eigbrett, and joined with me is the captain, Mr. Andy Full, who has having a big week.
We're back in business, baby. We're back in business. No, just real quick, I have to give Richie Thayer like a huge round of applause for dealing with my crazy self over in Connecticut. Yesterday, just a little backstory here. Yesterday, me, the Duke, Jeff Hippert, and my buddy Jordan all decided to drive to Norwich, Connecticut, which is about 7 hours from Buffalo, to pick up my brand new boat and to drive home in the same day. So I am exhausted. I have giant bags underneath my eyes. I sat on the couch today at like 3:30, and unbeknownst to me, I fell asleep for an hour. Like, just sat down, have no recollection of time, woke up, and I was like, I gotta get my daughter. Like, I think I slept 2.5 hours last night after I got home. Like, shot.
You drive 6.5 hours in a day, and you're whooped for the next day. And this guy we're about to have on is driving like 19 to 21 hours a day, and he's out fishing for 13 to 15 hours.
8 hours.
The next day.
Dude, we left at 5:30 in the morning. We got home at midnight. Like, it was nuts. Yeah,
you poor thing. You wouldn't make it on the pro circuit.
No. I need my beauty sleep. So like that's what it comes down to.
Yeah, you talk to this guy we're going to have on today, and like any of the guys that are professional anglers, there ain't no such thing as beauty sleep when you're on the road.
Road warriors, and that's I applaud them. But if nobody has seen it, I got the sweet hoodie, but I got myself a Camus, so I'm pretty pumped about that.
Yeah, there'll be a lot more to come. I'm sure Andy's going to be pumping out stuff out of the channel and social media. You guys will see more looks into that. But I'm happy for you, dude. I'm glad the guide business is back in action.
Yeah.
It's been, what, like a month?
Yeah, 3 weeks. Tomorrow I'm breaking it in. Then I have 3 days in a row guiding, and then off for a few days. And I think I have almost all of September. Like, I only have like 4 or 5 days left in September to fill. So it's going to be a pretty good time on Erie over here in Buffalo. I'm pretty excited about it. So, yeah.
Things are going to start heating up because, I mean, it's tough out there right now, to be honest. Like, yeah. I mean, in relative terms of like fishing, it's fun. But like it's still like for Erie, it's tough. Is kind of what we should say. But yeah, it's gonna only start. It's only gonna start getting better because I've been looking at extended forecasts and the nights are getting colder and colder, which makes me excited because it's back to flannel and hoodie weather, baby. I'm sick of sweating while I'm working from home all day.
Same. I can't wait to wear pants and a hoodie on the water all day long. That's like the best time in the world to fish. Even like miserable weather and downpouring rain and like 55 degrees, I am happy about it. Sign me up. Oh, here we go. Yeah. Getting chirped already. Bills are going to the Super Bowl.
Sounds like when we had Mercer back on our show. That's what it sounds like.
We should get him on here. Like, oh man, the AFC is a crapshoot this year. Every team in the top like 10 teams could probably win the Super Bowl because the AFC is just stacked. The AFC West that the Chiefs are in, I would be surprised if every team went 10-7. So
yeah, dude, it's not to get too deep into football talk, but it's going to be a pretty wild season to watch for the AFC. But looking forward to fall. I think that's for dang sure. And Mr. Cooper Gallant, who we're having on the show today, I think is probably in the same mindset of he's probably pretty excited for some fall fishing. And we're going to get him on here in a second. But really fast, couple notes for you guys.
Yeah, what's up with you, Bailey? I didn't even ask. I apologize.
Oh, no, there's nothing to report, to be honest. It's been grinding away, man. 3-day weekend coming up, so a lot of filming. I got some cool stuff in the works, but I don't want to announce it just yet. Once the first publication is out, which kind of let it slip a little bit there, but we'll keep the doors open.
Rookie mistake.
We'll let you guys in on what's new, but big congrats to Mr. Brandon Polinick and the team for another Angler of the Year finish. It was pretty cool to see the drama that happened go down on the Mississippi River. We'll have our fantasy fishing recap show coming up here soon. We'll announce who the winner is of our group, have some fun with it. And then lastly,
the winner. So is the winner the one who wins the special prize or the one who came in first place?
No, because technically the loser gets the special prize. So it's just like fantasy football, guys.
If you're getting a prize, wouldn't you be the winner?
It's not a prize.
Or the I won't go there.
Yeah, no. Let's not do that. But regardless, more to come on that, so stay tuned. But and then lastly, we only have 6 more days if you guys want to use the new Omnia code for 20% off site-wide on your whole order. That's code Series20. Will be down in the show notes if you guys want to go get some tackle for 20% off. Like literally, it's all site-wide is 20%, and it's on your entire order. So make do with that. You get 6 more days until September 5th, and that code is done. But without further ado, let's bring him on here. Mr. Cooper Gallant from his truck down in the Chesapeake Bay. What's going on, dude?
How's it going, guys?
How's the road life treating you?
It's good. It's good. I made the adventure up to Upper Chesapeake, and Derby's in 7 or 8 days. Figured I'd come down a little bit earlier. I was gonna do the Potomac for a few days, and then once I got out on Chesapeake and realized how gigantic it was, I'm like, maybe I'll just stay here and spend 4 or 5 days just driving up all the creeks and ditches, and it's insane the amount of water. So it's going to be a grinder event, but I'm looking forward to it. The truck life, it's good.
Yeah, you got, it's what, 4 more opens left, so you're coming on the home stretch here.
Yeah, 4 more, just over halfway through the season, and 4 more basically back to back to back. Last one is at the end of October.
Yeah. Last one's Rayburn, right?
What's that?
Last one's Rayburn, isn't it?
Yep.
That's an interesting time to go to Texas.
Yeah, it's gonna be an interesting. The next 4 derbies is gonna be interesting. It's gonna be. I think it's gonna be the most difficult part of the season for sure. Especially with Chesapeake this time of year, it's gonna be a grind, and then Red River. Apparently, it's always a grind. Hartwell and Rayburn, they should be a little bit more fun, but
heck yeah.
They couldn't be any more like geographically separated as well. Like how many you've got to be traveling like 10,000 miles over the next 4 weeks.
Yeah, pretty close to it. So I put it on Google Maps, and this is going from my house to all the lakes and then back home. I'm not going home. There's no point. It would just be a waste of money and time and driving. So it's 83 hours of driving, just going from location to location to location and then back to home. And that's like without going to the gas station, driving, you know what I mean? Like it all adds up. And the amount of driving time that we spend behind the wheel is insane. Back and forth, back and forth.
That's what they say, part-time fisherman, full-time truck driver.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If I don't make it in fishing, then I could definitely get hired to be a truck driver.
Yeah. We should probably stop talking about how much professional anglers talk, though, because the DOT is going to eventually catch on and start making you guys do like driver logs. And that would really ruin everything. So,
well, now you just exposed it, Andrew.
Yeah, I'm just saying the DOT is nuts. Like they'll find a way.
Oh, I'm sure. But so, dude, we're going to get into that in a little bit here, you know, talking about all these tournaments all over the place. And especially when you're coming from Canada, I'm super intrigued to kind of your preparation, the things you do when you're not in a tournament setting to kind of help prepare for getting on these fisheries. And we're going to get to that in a second. But what we do with everyone that's brand new to the show is we like to hear kind of, you know, where your roots stem from. Like, who got you into fishing in the first place? You know, what was the first fish you caught? That type of deal. Where did this all start for you?
Yeah, so my dad's always fished. He's never bass fished. He trolls out in Lake Ontario for salmon. And my mom, dad, my 2 brothers, and I moved to the shores of Lake Ontario when I was 5 years old. And I was surrounded by, obviously, Lake Ontario, Bowmanville Creek, and then we have like 2 or 3 marshes right close to our house, and hundreds of lakes north of us. And yeah, I was just born around water and got into it at a very young age. My first fish was probably a sunfish, but the first fish that I can remember was a largemouth I caught off the dock at Potash Lake. and it was a cottage my parents had rented for the weekend. It was a big one too. It was like a 4-pounder. I caught it on a bobber and a worm, and I have the worst memory. I really do, and I don't know how I remembered that back from when I was that little, but I remember every second of it. And yeah, again, just grew up around water, fish for steelhead in the creeks, carp, catfish, pike in all the marshes, and then bass, obviously, in all the lakes close by. Lake Ontario with my dad trolling for salmon. I still do it all. I still am a multi-species guy. I don't just bass fish. I love fishing for anything that swims, but I do have a special place in my heart for tournament fishing, and that all started when I was 13 years old. I joined the Bass Nation, started fishing the high school stuff in Ontario, and was lucky and fortunate enough to make it down to the States to fish the national championship with bass for the high school program, and that's kind of where it all started. And yeah, been doing it ever since, and I am obsessed with it.
Yeah, that's perfect, because that was going to lead into my next question. Was like, if your dad wasn't big on the whole bass thing, like how did you get into the tournament scene? But I'm intrigued because if folks haven't checked out your YouTube channel, that's also down in the show notes. You guys, I highly encourage you doing that. But you do some pretty cool series. I mean, not only your Chase for the Elites, that series you do, but you also have one where it's I mean, you can obviously explain this a lot better, but you guys like go and chase like around basically it seems like the whole dang country of whether it's Canada or the United States or whatever, chasing different species. So like, why bass? Why did you choose bass? How did you get that kind of special place in your heart for chasing bass?
I don't know. Like it's just the first tournament I ever won was on the St. Lawrence River as a high school tournament with Bass Nation. And I think the biggest thing about me loving the bass fishing so much is just the whole competitive side of it. I love catching a smallmouth just as much as I love catching a steelhead in the river, or a carp in the marsh. But the whole competitive side of things and putting the pieces of the puzzle together prior to the tournament, and just trying to figure out different ways to catch them, and you're constantly learning. That's the biggest thing I like the most about the whole tournament thing, is you're constantly learning. And I don't know, I'm just the whole competitive thing I'm obsessed with, and it's been a blast, and I'll do it the rest of my life, 100%.
Oh yeah. And so for the folks as well too, like that video series you do, your brother, like it's kind of like a family deal to an extent, right? Your brother films it and everything, right?
Yeah, so for the road trip, it's called the road trip, and it's like you said, it's a video series that we do, and basically just films designed to try and inspire others to travel and scratch that next fishing adventure off their bucket list. So we do 5 episodes a year. It's me and my brother, and really whoever wants to come. Like if we're going somewhere, we'll call up some buddies and we'll be like, oh, we're going to wherever, British Columbia, do you want to go? And if they can come, they can come. It's just all about being with good friends, and again, scratching that next fishing adventure off our bucket list. And all these films that we do we go to locations we've never been to. We try to go fish for species we've never fished for before. So it's fun. We have a blast doing it, and I'm super lucky that Colin is so good at filming and all that, and it works out good. He does all the filming for the road trip series, and then I do all the editing and stuff. And no, it works out. And Tanner, my other brother, he's going to start coming on a lot more trips with us in the near future. We got one planned this fall. We're going to go to Outer Banks in South Carolina. So it's going to be a good
that'd be
time.
fun.
2 more episodes we're going to film this year.
Heck yeah. Well, you got a lot of the series fans in the chat here. People are boasting about it in the comments. But
cool.
again, that's all linked down below if people want to check that out. Like, again, I highly encourage that. I've been a big fan of the going after the Elite Series, following along with you, especially that series you've been doing, because I think people can learn from it. And one thing I've noticed too is just kind of how diverse you are as an angler. Like you're not a kind of the guy that's I'm going to stick to 3 different techniques or patterns that I'm confident in. Like it seems you're pretty well versed when it comes to going around the country being faced with kind of different situations. Do you think Canada is like where you grew up, or it might even be part of traveling, but has that helped you, like we're at the stage you're at now when you come see all these new lakes all over the country? Do you think it helped you being
I
from the
think
north?
so, yeah, between us having several different bodies of water back home and then me fishing for a variety of different species growing up, I think that's helped me as well. But yeah, like as far as the lakes we have back home, like we've got clear lakes full of giant smallmouth, clear rock lakes. We have muddy lakes full of milfoil and cane and grass, and we have lakes that are tea stain color. We have lakes that have deep largemouth, lakes that have shallow largemouth. So we have a lot of different bodies of water, and maybe that's helped me. I think it has, but yeah, it's pretty. Everyone thinks like, oh, we're even like with Chris and Corey, like when they first got on the elites, everyone's like, oh, they can catch largemouth too. Like a lot of people think all we have is smallmouth, but we have a lot of largemouth, really good largemouth lakes back home as well. And I was actually just on a podcast the other night, and like when we go to Florida, that like feels like home. Like some of our lakes look exactly like that. So it's pretty cool, and we're super lucky to have that many different types of fisheries back home.
Yeah, that's pretty much the whole Trenton River system, like that canal system, right? With those lakes come off, because that goes from Huron basically to Bay of Quinte, right?
Yeah,
and there's all those chain of lakes off of it.
Exactly. So there's that whole chain. There's literally, like, if you look at a map, like up Halliburton, all north of us, there's hundreds and hundreds of lakes. It's insane. Yeah,
I remember Chris this past weekend on Mississippi, like verbatim him saying exactly where a lot of people when they got on the tour for FLW were saying how like, oh, these guys are going to be, don't worry about them, down south, they're going to be smallmouth guys, and they come and wreak havoc in the south, especially like, I mean, dude, they're some of the best sight fishermen in the entire tour, like at the pro level. Like, I don't think people realize that, like he was saying at Mississippi River that he feels more at home there than he might at the St. Lawrence River, because that's exactly what it's like for you guys up there when growing up. I thought that's something that you hit it on the head, is some people don't realize, especially being from Canada. I feel, in my personal opinion, and just from talking to you and talking to some other folks that are from that area, I think you guys are more well-versed than we are down here in New York, and especially the majority of the states. Like, I don't think people realize the diversity of fisheries you guys have up there.
And how many there are. Like, it's crazy.
Yeah, it's just crazy. Like Simcoe, for example, it's Clearwater Lake. You need smallmouth to win, and you're catching giant smallmouth in crystal clear water, and 3 to 10 feet of the water. Usually summertime, that's the deal. You're sight fishing them, and then you can literally drive 10 minutes north and fish like a lake that's mud, and you're fishing milfoil and pad patches. It's pretty crazy.
Cool. That's awesome. So if you had a preference, let me ask you that. Like, are you a guy that likes to pick up, the light line spinning rods, or do you like to pick up the braid and the big sticks and go shallow? Like, what's your confidence? Like, what would you rather do?
I love both. I love leaning into a big largie and draining that bugger in the boat. I don't know. It's hard to pick. I'd probably pick smallmouth. I'd probably say I'm more comfortable catching smallmouth.
Okay.
Maybe. I don't know. I like doing both. I really do.
It's a hard question. I don't think and a guy like yourself that chases everything that swims, I feel like that's a very hard question to ask. Yeah. But I just figured we'd throw it out there. But I think if anything, that answer to the question for you is just there is no answer, because as long as the bite's good, that's what I'm doing.
Let me catch something.
Yeah, I feel like you're a guy that's like, I don't care what the bite is, but if they're biting, that's all that matters. Like, I don't have to catch them flipping, but if they're gonna eat whatever I'm throwing,
yeah, no, for sure. Yeah. As long as they're eating, that's all that matters.
Yeah, amen to that. Dude. Yeah,
there's nothing worse than trying to force a bite.
That is, it's spoken like a A veteran tournament angler. That's
and I still do it till this day. Like I'll go out on some bodies of water back home when I want to catch them on a drop shot, or I want to catch them on a jig and just not eat it. But
yeah.
There's nothing worse than tying up one jig and trying to flip with it for 4 hours and not getting a bite and being like, I should probably change. Oh, that milfoil looks good.
Squirrel. Yeah. Well, that's going to bring my next question for you is like, when you're not in a tournament setting, you know, like either you're practicing or you're actually fishing in dirt, like you don't have to be anywhere, but you're, you know, like you mentioned, you're not driving home to these, you're going around different lakes, you're fishing, you're learning some different bodies of water. You know, are you taking days where you're taking a technique that maybe you want to get better with, and like what you just said is forcing it in your hands where it might not be the best thing to catch them on at that time, but it's going to be something where you get more comfortable using it in a setting. Like how do you best use your time off when you're not you know, traveling or
to be honest with you, this year I really haven't had days where I've not been practicing or not been like, I really haven't had those days this year where I could just, you know, let's do this, let's go explore this body of water. I haven't had a whole lot of time to do that. And even like in between these opens, I probably won't even do it. I'll probably just go to wherever I'm staying and clean the boat, get organized. And I spend a lot of time doing my filming too, which like for the chase videos, I'm on my own. So I'll usually spend 3-4 days straight just flying the drone, setting the tripod up on shore. So I really haven't had a whole lot of time to go to different lakes and try different new techniques and stuff like that. But like during practice and stuff, I'm not scared to pick something up I've never thrown or try and do something that I don't have a lot of confidence in that I feel like might be the ticket. But yeah, it's that just kind of happens as I go throughout practice and stuff. I kind of just like, if I'm not catching them, I gotta think outside the box a little bit and try something different.
Yeah, that makes sense. When you made that leap to go, you know, fish all 9 opens, what's, you know, coming down the States, spending a lot of time down here and fishing, like, I mean, we just talked about the last four opens being like completely different geographically. You know, what's been the biggest adjustment for you, you know, coming down here and seeing completely new like fisheries?
Yeah, it's different. Like I said, this last half of the season's going to be super grinding. It's going to be really tough. Honestly, I try not to think about it a whole lot. I just like to back the boat in and just go fishing and kind of just try and figure it out as I go. But yeah, I don't know. It's a hard. I don't really know how to answer that one. I kind of just wing it, I guess. I don't know. I used to do a lot more homework back home, but it's never really worked for me because, as you guys know, like things are always changing. You watch videos from past tournaments. Oh, they won on these boat docks, and very rarely is it ever one doing that again. Fish are constantly moving, different times of the year, and so I don't know. I kind of just spend a lot of time looking at a map though before I come to tournaments. Like before I go to bed at night, I'll just stare at my navionics at random lakes down south. Like I'm addicted to just staring at contour lines, you know. But between that, Google Earth, and just backing the boat up, that's pretty well all I do, and it's that's what I like to do.
I say it seems to be working for you pretty well this year, so we'll take it.
It ain't broken.
No, don't fix something that's working.
That's right. Yeah. So you definitely have more confidence than kind of just free floating. I shouldn't say free floating, but like I feel like very rarely, if you even hear about it at all, you don't hear about guys saying, you know, I got on this pattern because I saw some YouTube video. Like you don't see that happen. It's typically what you hear about, and I've been fortunate from a full-time gig. I've been able to talk to a lot of guys that are winning these tournaments and getting like the background information. And it's like you don't get to a lot of the guys that win aren't like they kind of just put, like you said, they put the boat in and kind of, oh, this is the time of year, take in the settings, and they kind of just go to work. It's not doing a month straight of research, up until 2 or 3 in the morning, like reading books back from like the history of Lake Fork type crap. Like it's kind of like you're letting your instincts play. Like, is that exactly kind of your mold for how you approach these opens and for practice?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, 100%. Like I'll do some, like a lot of these bodies of water this year I've never been to, so it's like I'll do some research on like what the deal is, like basic stuff, right? Like Upper Chesapeake, for example. Like you have one giant grass flat, and then you got a lot of wood and some riprap bank. Just very basic baits. As far as anything else, just back the boat in, go fishing, and try and figure it out.
Pray for 5.
Yeah,
basically is what it comes down to. Pray for them.
Yeah.
I feel like one thing, and you correct me if I'm wrong, that a lot of guys, I shouldn't say a lot. I think a lot of guys look at it, but not many guys know how to use it as an advantage in terms of looking up kind of like what the local weights have been, leading up to an event. Like, it might be a fun tournament, it might not. And that's about the extent of what they see, but they don't actually use that as like a strategy, if that makes any sense. Where guys will say like, this is the pound, like a pound, like you can kind of establish a somewhat of a cut weight and kind of help you either one manage fish or kind of help you strategize a tournament. Is that something that you make like use of, or am I kind of off there?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, 100%. Because the last thing you want to do is, like, especially in my situation, like I'm not trying to, like, I'm trying to win every tournament, but it's getting to the point now where I just need to make sure I get 4 top 40s, basically 4 top 30s, right? So it's like, I need to have an idea of what it's going to take to get a top 40 or a top 30 here on Upper Chesapeake or any of the next tournaments. Is it going to be 15 a day? Is it going to be 10 and a half, 11 a day, right? So it's definitely good to get an idea, because the last thing I want to do, and the last thing a lot of these guys want to do, is burn too many fish and be throwing fish back that they're getting for the next day.
Yeah.
Right.
Makes sense. Right. Are you kind of guy that's like, you'll get up right around sunrise for practice, get off by dinner time? Or are you one that's like grinding out an hour before sunrise and back after dark?
No, I'm out. Yeah, every sun's going down and I'm pulling the boat out. Yeah,
Grinder.
I'm not gonna lie. There's some mornings I don't get out there till about 8 o'clock, but
the mornings are a little bit harder than getting out in the evening. That's for dang sure.
I'll stay right out till dark. But I could be leading the biggest turn of my life, and I still have a hard time waking up. I am the worst for getting up first thing in the morning. The first one, don't even talk to me.
So you were definitely not the first guy at the ramp, is what you're saying.
No.
You're rolling in just on time.
Yeah, I'm usually the last one off.
Oh, that's funny. So when you're down here, obviously you're traveling. You mentioned we kind of touched on it briefly earlier, where you're spending a lot of more of your off time, getting the boat ready, getting prepped for the next tournament. Kind of doing your YouTube series stuff, which I don't think people realize how much of a grind it is to have a successful YouTube channel and do it consistently. I think that is very underestimated. But what other things are you doing, from a tournament angle that's as consistent and as successful? Like, are you doing to kind of develop your skills or kind of hone in your tournament? I guess what would you want to call it? Kind of like your routine.
Yeah, a lot of it's just, I'd like to say organized, but I'm not that organized. All my buddies back home chirp me all the time. I see my boat right now, it's a disaster, but I try to stay organized. Re-spool rod, just get ready and just get mentally prepared. Just kind of get in the groove of things and just be focused on what's to come. I think that's the biggest thing for me, is just staying focused. And I travel alone. I got a lot of buddies who do the opens and stuff, but to be honest, I like doing it solo. I like my alone time, especially for the derbies, and I just get in this weird zone. I'm by myself, rigging up rods, and just thinking about the whole week and the tournament. And I think that's the biggest thing for me during my off time is just sitting in my boat is my happy place, and just getting everything ready. And
Yeah.
And
So
then,
you're not a fan of dock talk, is what you're saying?
no, not at all. I hate it.
I'll second that.
Yeah. I growing up, I used to get info and stuff from friends, and I used to get in all the dock talk, and it's burnt me more times than none, 100%.
Oh.
So from then on, I'm just gonna start doing my own thing, and it's helped me out a little bit, and I'm just gonna keep rolling with it for the rest of the season.
Absolutely. I'm not a fan of the dock talk. You can have one thing going on, and then as soon as you hear it, you automatically revert to what everybody else is, because you're like, I gotta try this, I gotta do that.
Yeah.
And now your day becomes shorter because you're so focused on what you're not doing.
Exactly.
So
that's what's so crazy about fishing. Like Andy Bailey, you guys could have two separate things going on, and two total opposite sides of the lake, and you guys could both be on winning fish. So like Bailey, you could tell Andy like, oh, I'm catching them doing this. Andy, even though you're on winning fish and you're doing the right thing, he's got you thinking you're doing the wrong thing. You know what I mean?
That's right.
Thing. Like, that's what's so crazy about it is you're confident what you're doing, you can just fish your strengths and do your own thing. It'll work out better that way.
Yeah.
It's such a mental game. I mean, people say it all the time, but I mean, it's nothing further from the truth. It's when you hear that dock talk, and I think that there's many anglers that fall victim to this, is you get these preconceived notions, and you might hear it before you even go out on the water for like your first day on a brand new body of water, and you hear from a guy that had one day out prior to you what he was doing, and you hear one thing and it becomes a mental block in your brain to either avoid something or to focus on something, whereas if you had a free mind, you might have gone down the right direction.
Yeah.
And I feel like that burns more anglers than I think there's a lot of anglers that could be really good if they got away from either one, trying to get information, or two, stop listening to dock talk.
Yeah, 100%. And I still talk to buddies. Like I call buddies and whatever. And
a network. Yeah.
We chat throughout the week about fishing and stuff, but you just got to learn to take it like nothing, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think you learn as you go on. Like, it's good to have, and it's valuable to have a network of anglers that you can talk to, and especially ones that you can actually trust what they say. Because I think there's definitely something to be said for people that you can. It's not more or less dock talk, but more you're like Andrew, for example. Like if I'm out at a tournament, you know, I'm still in the kayak right now, so like I'll drive down to Chickamauga for a Hobie event and call Andrew and like walk through my practice. Not for like asking for stuff, but it almost kind of helps you mentally walk through like a game plan. You know what I mean? It kind of helps you kind of clear your mind where it's. And he's not like putting in input. He's just kind of nodding along, just like almost like a therapist. It's kind of what it is. I feel like having a network like that is actually pretty valuable. Like people you can bounce stuff off of.
Yeah, for sure.
And it's just asking like little questions. Be like, I'm throwing this walking bait, but they're missing it by like 4 feet. Do you think it's color, or should I go to a popper? And like kind of walking through those situations as well. Because like sometimes you're doing the right thing, but it's a simple tweak just by talking it out. You're like, light bulb. All right. And then all of a sudden you start putting them in the boat. So
yeah,
we got a question here in the comments from Team Bass Pack, and he's asking who your favorite angler was growing up.
So to be honest with you, the guys I looked up to the most was all the Canadian boys, 100%, Chris, Corey, and Gussie. Just because growing up, like before they even started destroying down south, which happened pretty quickly once they got down there, Canadians thought it was next to impossible for us to come down here and do well in tournaments. So seeing them do that was super, super cool to watch. So I've always looked up to them. And who else? BP, Brandon, 100%. He's
hard not to.
Yeah, he's so good at between the social media he does, between his whole thought process behind everything is just incredible. And then his confidence and mindset toward competitive fishing is just super cool to watch. But yeah.
Yeah, that one was one Polinick growing up that's the guy kind of who I had always had eyes on, especially more not really watching more or less his results from tournaments, but more kind of had my ears open to whenever he was speaking, because that dude is a foundation of knowledge. While he's like one of the best anglers in the world in terms of talent, I think he's the best angler in the world when it comes to the mental process of tournament bass fishing. 100%. I think he's on a different level than anybody else. And that's the stuff that, like, I think when we had a while ago, there's two examples. We had Gary Klein on, but we also there was an episode of BTL with Matt Steffen where they talked about how not enough anglers were studying the mental side of fishing, where you could be as talented in the world, but like if your mental stuff's not right, you're gonna suck.
Yeah.
And I think that's why you see a bunch of like dang hammers out there that are struggling right now. And I think it's all up here. 100%. Whereas if they kind of worked on the mental side, it might be a little bit better. But
I feel like 70% of it is mental.
At the very least.
Because if your head's not in it, you might as well put your boat on the trailer and at home. If your head's in it, you're never going to catch them.
Yeah, you're not going to make a clean cast. You're going to be slamming your jig in the water instead of being quiet. Like nothing goes right. 100%. You running the trolling motor on 9 instead of 3. Like it's a bad combo to not mentally be in it. Just even when you're out fun fishing, trying to learn, if you're just getting angry at everything, you might as well, like you said, put it on a trailer and go home because it's just not going to work. It's just going to snowball and get worse.
Are you like when you're on the water, you know, I mean, fun fishing, it's hard for a lot of people, I think, to get mad. If you do, then there's probably some issues here and there. But like if you're tournament fishing and things are kind of spiraling, I mean, are you kind of guy to, you know, just kind of shrug it off, or do you find yourself get a little worked up a little bit? Like, do you wear emotion on your sleeve?
No, I think I'm pretty good at shaking it off. Just because I know you don't like the quicker you shake it off, the better you're going to be for the rest of the day. So having that in the back of your head, it's a no-brainer just to shake it off. Like either I don't shake it off and I'm not fishing properly for the next half hour, or I shake it off, I get my head back in it, I'm fishing, good to go right away. I'd be lying if I said, like, there is times 100% where, you know, it's hard to shake it off, and it takes a good time to.
We're human, like
exactly.
We're not robots, so as much as we try to be while we're fishing,
unless you're Jason Curry, that guy's a robot.
Or Jacob Wheeler, like one or the other.
No emotion. No. It is just tunnel vision. That's basically what it is.
But no, there's definitely times where I get a little flustered. But like I said, the sooner you can shake it off, the better you're off.
So while we're talking about shaking it off, what is your go-to technique to shake it off? Are you a guy that like sits down and grabs a snack, or do you just retie your bait? Like, what do you do to refocus yourself? Because everybody does it a little differently, but how would you refocus yourself to get back into the moment?
Just keep fishing.
It's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think the guys that, you know, take like a 5-10 minute break, I think that's like a hindrance, I think, as an angler. If you have to sit down for a little while, I think, like, I say this, and this was totally me, like, a while ago. I've come in waves from a mental standpoint, but like the guys that lose a fish and then lay on the boat deck for like 15 minutes, I don't know how those guys do that.
Oh,
Yeah.
that makes me laugh. Like me.
Those are the guys you can get in their head before the tournament and it'll ruin their whole day.
Oh, those are the guys that I want to fish against because as soon as a sprinkle falls down, they're like losing their mind and running 100 miles an hour because it's going to rain. I got to catch them before it rains. Like,
you're gonna lay on the deck, at least cast your rod out there and then lay down.
Yeah. Like Tyler Rivette on Hawaii. Did you guys see that?
Oh, that was hilarious. He was sitting like crisscrossed, like on the front deck fishing like a Carolina rig, and he's just like, I haven't had a bite in a while.
Really?
Yeah, he was like, because he was throwing a Carolina rig, and this is like the day where he like kind of made for him to make day 4, and he was only catching my Carolina rig, but it's like painfully slow. Yeah. He's sitting there on live, he goes, this sucks, and he's like sits down, he's just like slowly dragging, goes, that's a bite, and like sets the hook sitting down and like stands up. It was great. It was hilarious.
That's I need to see that.
I think they got a clip of it on Bassmaster's YouTube channel.
Nice.
I'll find it afterwards to send it to you. But, dude, I love these conversations around the mental side of things. I don't know why. I'm just so infatuated with that kind of stuff. And I think the guys that can do really well, like you talked about, Coop, that can just literally, like you see, I think a great example of it that people have seen. I think there's a bunch of guys that do it, but most people have seen is like when Kevin Van Dam loses a fish, you don't see any motion. You don't see him slam the rod. He just reels back in, casts out again. No, nothing happens. No acknowledgement it ever happened. Like those are the guys that's the reason they're at the tier they're at. And it's from a mental standpoint.
For sure.
Or like 20 minutes after I'd be like, did you see that fish I lost? And he just keeps going.
Yeah.
It's just like, what?
Yeah, everyone else has forgotten about it at that point. I mean, there's definitely fish that you could lose that are like gut punches, like you're saying, Coop, that are a little bit like that extra, like a little bit harder to get over than the rest of them. But I think if you really try to drill yourself to stay positive, like it's a hard thing to do. I mean, to be honest, it really is. But I think if you can actually, like, it actually works though. Like if you can remain positive and just know that you lost that fish, there's nothing you can do about it now besides catch the next one. You find that your day typically turns out a lot better. And if it doesn't, you're not as pissed about it. Drive it home afterwards.
Yeah.
But one little quick sidebar I have for you, and I meant to ask you this earlier in the show when I heard it, but I didn't want to derail the conversation while it was good. I know you noticed you used the term chirped. I don't think a lot of people know what that means in the States, but I think the guys that play hockey know what chirped means. Did you grow up playing hockey?
I did. Like I played till I was about 14, and then I kind of stopped so I could snowboard.
Bailey, let's be stereotypical real fast. Anyone that's born across the border is born with a stick and a puck in their hands, okay? Like, it just happens. Like, once you get across the Great Lakes, it just happens. So,
like, we all played. All my brothers played hockey growing up, but we got out of it at a pretty young age to do the whole snowboarding thing. And then I don't even follow hockey, to be honest with you, anymore at all.
You don't have much time.
I mean, if you're a Maple Leafs or a Montreal fan, it's kind of hard to be a hockey fan. So, like, just
fair.
This is
very fair.
Yeah.
Well, to avoid all the sports talk, we'll dodge that. I just I've been a hockey nut my entire life, and I heard chirps, and I was like, hey, you must play hockey, because there's only a select group of people that know what chirp means. Because you say that down here to anybody, like if talking about your buddies getting chirped or buddies chirping you, whatever. They're like, what does that even? What does that mean? Like, never mind. You're from Georgia. You don't know what the sport of hockey even is, so I won't even get into it. But like, it's funny. But so, dude, kind of looking ahead, we got Chesapeake Bay coming up. Obviously, that one's on the burner for you right now. I know we kind of talked about it a little bit in terms of it's going to be it might be tough. A limit could go a long way here. But any other things you anticipate coming from this Open?
All I know is it's not going to be easy. I mean, I really don't know how it's all going to shape out. We have some derbies, like even this year, there's a few tournaments where I'm like, you can catch 16 a day, 15 a day, you're going to have a really good tournament. Like Oneida, for example, I thought if you caught 16 a day or 15 a day, you'd be in the top 10, and I was so wrong. Guys smashed them. So that could be what happens here on Chesapeake. It could be all of a sudden just everyone starts catching them, because it does happen throughout these tournaments. Practice is terrible, and then all of a sudden they just start chewing. So, but I think either way, like it's not going to be an easy tournament. I don't think it, like I've looked at previous results here from the past years this time of year, and it's a grind. Like there's several 8 to 10 sacks, and then the odd 12 to 15 sacks, or there'll be a lot of 12s, 13s, but I think if you get 13 a day, you'll have a good tournament.
Yeah, I'm intrigued to see what's going to come from it, because it's an interesting fishery, like we were talking about briefly offline before we got on the show. It's a cool fishery. I really think it is. I don't think it gets a lot of the recognition that it deserves, especially for the right times of year when this place can show out. I mean, they catch 10-pounders out of this place. They live there, so the fish are there. And it's a pretty diverse fishery, especially, we talked, like we were saying earlier, it's connected to saltwater. So there could be some interesting patterns at play, for sure.
Yeah, it'll be, like you said, there's a lot of different things you can do. There's, this giant grass flat that several boats are going to be on.
Several. Half the field.
Get in line.
They live in it, though. I mean, that they're there. You got the river. Apparently there's smallmouth up there, and then there's just so much stuff.
Oh, the Susky
on the river that you can fish between rock, wood, laydowns, docks, pads. It's so big. It's crazy how big it is. But no, it'll be fun. I'm looking forward to it. I love fishing new bodies of water. That's one of my favorite things about this whole tournament deal, is just going to these new places and trying to figure it out.
Absolutely.
Since you've been going after the opens here, I mean, is there one? I mean, obviously, I'm gonna assume Cherokee's your favorite, being that you got a nice trophy to come home with that. But is there a body of water that's just kind of like your favorite down here since you've been starting this tournament deal?
Like Cherokee's up there for sure.
I bet.
Going into this year, one of the two I was looking forward to the most. The two I was looking forward to the most was the James River and Oneida. The James, I like grindy tournaments. I like tidal water. I don't consider myself good at it, so I don't know why I like it. Mm-hmm. And it was my worst
because it's different.
Yeah, it was my worst finish of the year on the James, and it was the one I was looking forward to the most. Again, I don't know why I looked forward to that one. Again, different, but we fished it last year. I didn't do good last year either, but I was looking forward to kind of getting some redemption there this year, and I did even worse. So,
based off of this logic, he's going to leave the Red River and say it's his favorite fishery of all time.
No, I don't know about that.
I'm just messing.
But no, Oneida was one I was like really looking forward to as well, and then Cherokee I was too, but that wasn't even like it wasn't what I expected. It wasn't what I expected for sure.
Well, dude, I was a big fan of the video that came out on the YouTube channel from that, because that technique is so freaking fun. I know that there's some people that will think that's boring, but until you do it, it is a ride. It really is. And it's not easy to do too, which is what I think what makes it kind of fun, is because it's relatively challenging to position it right. But that's for a whole other episode, because if you get me down that rabbit hole, I'm not going to stop talking about it. So I'll have to have you back on for a technique specific show.
Yeah.
But dude, you've been it's been awesome to get you on here, and you've been sitting in your truck for about almost an hour now on the show with us. So we'll if Andy's got anything for you, we'll let those rip, and then if not, we got 2 more questions to wrap the show.
You can just tell him with the questions. We'll let him get some sleep. So
I think you just want some sleep, Andy. You sound exhausted.
I am. I don't know if you can see it, but underneath my eyes here, like it hurts. But we're grinding through. So, still got a bucket list of things to do. It's fine. We'll get there.
All right, Coop. So we got 2 more questions for you to wrap up the show. And it's been a while since we've been able to ask these because we haven't. You're the first guy in a little bit here that's been new to the show. And that is, well, one, I'm going to ask. We usually don't ask this one, but I'm just curious because you're a multi-species guy. But to put bass on the side, what species are you chasing after if you could only choose one?
Such a hard question.
We're putting you on the spot.
Like back home, I'd probably say steelhead in the rivers. Yeah, so float fishing for steelhead when they come up and spawn in the spring, and then we get a big push in the fall, and it's fun. We even catch them through the ice. It's a blast. And it's cool. You get to look at them. You get to see how they react to your bait, and not always. After we get a big rain, it gets pretty muddy, and you got to switch things up a bit, but pretty fun watching the float drop and having that 13-foot rod with a center pin and dragging them to the bank. It's a lot of fun.
You know what's funny is I've been trying to get Bailey to go steelhead fishing for like 2 years. He's like, it's not bass. I'm like, all right.
It's so
See, I want to do it. I want to do it so bad, but the days he has to do it, it's like a day you can get on Erie, and I'm sitting there, I'm like, but smallmouth. Like, I can't like leave him. I'm just drilled like in my brain where like, dude, I'll be down south in Florida and I'll be fishing mangroves for snook and I'm picturing largemouth. Like, it's just like I can't help it. It's just kind of how my brain's wired.
Yeah.
I can't get them out of my head.
All right.
Yeah. What are you gonna say, Andy? I think I cut you off.
I was gonna say the one big thing about steelhead though, like steelhead fishing, it helps you learn so much about smallmouth in river systems because they set up almost identically. It's just you're going from 6 inches to 8 foot of water to 6 inches to 70 foot of water. But the bottom composition is basically the same on how they set up in current breaks and seams. So you can learn a lot from it.
I guess I can give up 1 day of smallmouth fishing to go try steelhead.
Well, I'd always ask you like December to go. So,
yeah.
You know, there's only like 2 days all of December that you can get on Erie. So, like...
Twist my arm. But
yeah.
All right, Coop. So our last question for you, and then we'll let you go here, is if you could go to dinner and have a nice steak and a beer with 3 different individuals that don't have to be fishing related. It could be sports related. They could be alive 1,000 years ago. Doesn't matter. Any 3 people. So you get to pick 3 people to go have dinner, steak, beer, and pick their brain. Who are you gonna invite?
So they're gonna be all fishermen. ABD.
Okay.
Sorry guys, KVD.
Oh, you're good.
You're fine. Some people take like 10 minutes to answer all 3, so you're fine. Take as much time as you need.
I don't know. KVD, Polinick, and who else?
He's going the fishing route. Nice.
Starting off with some royalty.
I can't think of anyone right now.
It's the spot. When you get put on the spot, it's very hard.
Yeah. This is why we don't give any prep to it, because it's actually kind of funny to watch some guys be like, damn it, I don't know. Like, and then they'll get like a text 10 minutes later. Like, damn, I should have said this guy. Like, it's kind of funny, but it's cool. It's a cool concept to think about.
KVD and Polinick.
You need one more, bud.
I need one more.
He's just going to save that extra seat for more beer. I mean, that's what he's going to do.
More beer, yes.
I don't know.
We'll let it slide.
I'll go out for dinner with Mercer.
Yeah.
Mercer can't live that too far from you.
No, he's like 20 minutes from me.
No, that's easy.
Yeah.
Well, dude, that's awesome. And so has having you on the show. I appreciate you taking the time out. Learned a bunch, and we're looking forward to seeing how you do in the Chesapeake, and hopefully get you back on here real soon.
Yeah, thanks.
Man.
Appreciate it.
Yeah. Well, dude, I'm sure we'll be seeing you around. If not, we'll be in touch. But go give them hell on the Chesapeake, and we'll be rooting for you throughout the remainder of the season.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it big time.
And safe travels on your 80 hours of drive time.
Billy, who would you eat dinner with?
Oh, God.
Okay.
I haven't had it spun on me. Okay, all right, no, I'll take it. I'll take that challenge. I will agree with Polnick. I think he's one I would always like the chance to get to talk to Brandon. I'd say 2. Oh damn, this is hard.
Isn't
it? I'll say, how about this? I'll say The Rock, because I do like kind of his mentality and outlook, at least from what you see on social media and stuff. Who knows what it is behind the scenes? And then, you know who I think it's sort of cliche, but I think it'll be fair because with recent trends and where this world's going, I'd be curious to see what's going on behind the scenes. But Elon Musk, I think that would be a cool one too. You're like, is it actually possible to live on Mars?
Awesome. Thanks, boys. Appreciate it.
Yeah, man.
Good one.
Appreciate it. We'll talk to you.
Yeah. See you guys. Thank you.
See ya. That was fun. I might have some slight bias, this is more teasing our other a bunch of our guests that we have on here, but the Canadian guys always have a little more fun on the show.
Yeah, a little more loose.
I'm just messing with that, but it is good to get Cooper on here. We've been trying for a while, and that dude has a crazy schedule. We have crazy schedules, and it's good to get him on the show. And it will not be the last time that he's on the show.
I think he'll be back on.
Yeah, we got some technique stuff we really want to dive in with. That'll be a heck of a lot of fun. And dude, you sound like you need some sleep, and sounds like you need to go have some special alone time with your boat tomorrow.
Oh no, it's not going to be alone time. I think Amanda and Emmy are going to go out on the maiden voyage. So yeah,
boat rides for 5 hours.
yes, just driving at like under 4,500 RPMs for 2 hours straight sounds like enjoying 30-mile-an-hour winds. So it's going to be fun.
I'll ask you where offline. We don't have to talk about it here.
I don't know where I'm going yet. I still have to get all of my safety equipment in the boat. I still have to get all the lettering on the other side of my hull. I literally because it rained all day. That was my plan from like 3:30 to 4:30. But like I said, I sat down on the couch and lost all recollection of time and fell asleep. But it was downpouring, so I couldn't do it. I wanted to get most of it done. So now I got to get up early tomorrow morning and get it done, and then go put 50 gallons of gas in my boat and just start chipping away at the time block.
Well, I think you'll be much happier now that you have this Camus.
Yes.
I think once you get it broken in, you'll thoroughly enjoy the new rig you got. And I saw a comment earlier that you've come to the dark side of Humminbird, so I'm excited to help you break into those bad boys.
So you will be proud of me. I have already switched over the waypoint management from the Humminbird to the standard. Figured that out. I got to get Lake Master, but I got my Navionics with contours, like half-foot contour line. So it's the same exact mapping that I had on my Lowrance. So we're good there. It's crispy. And I got most of my waypoints came over. So we are good. Well,
just wait till you swap them out with Lake Master.
I know. I can't wait.
You'll be much better off.
Yeah. But I'm just saying, for right now, until I can get a Lake Master chip, because there are none in stock anywhere, my Navionics chip will work okay.
It'll work.
It'll get it done.
That's
for
right.
now.
That's
so
right.
Baby steps, lots of money just happened in the last 2 days. So we got to recoup the monies that we just spent and are spending. So yeah.
Yes, if you see Andy standing on the corner, throw him a couple dollars.
Yes, please. or just book a guide trip. Let's go fishing.
Or just book a guide trip.
You never know. What happens on? No, I'm just kidding.
That's amazing. Good. Well, buddy, what is coming up for you besides obviously getting the boat ready? What dates can people look out for if they want to come up and catch some big old 8 Lake Erie smallmouth? Because this is about to be prime time. Getting on Lake Erie and catching
Lake Erie.
Giants.
Our end of Lake Ontario starts turning on in about
now.
We're getting some big north winds, and Lake Ontario rolls, so flips very easily. So basically, like I look for that first big lake roll, and if I get a lot of cold water up close, because I think they have like the weather buoy or whatever posts the temperature of the water. If I see a flip into the 40s, I know within like 2 days, every single smallmouth in that area will be in this one little half-mile stretch that we know, and we're going to be able to just rail on them. But no, like this is my favorite time. It's crankbaits, A-rigs, single swim baits. You can catch them from 2 inches of water and big ones shallow and see them swimming all the way to 65. So they're scattered, but some places we got to grind for them. Some places we can catch 100. Like it just depends on your flavor. Do you want a bunch of fish or you want to go try to catch the biggest one possible? So whatever you want to do, we can do it.
Yeah. I mean,
and it's a pretty fun largemouth time too, because the topwater bite is about to go insane for the next like 4 weeks.
Yeah, I mean, well, after the next week and a half, 2 weeks, I think we're about to hit that fall transition slump where it's going to make things a little bit difficult.
Yeah, I don't mind that. It's the October slump I hate more. When it goes from like 70 to like 40 degrees or high 30s at night, that is probably my least favorite time. But if you can get on them, it gets really good. And the whole reason why I don't like that time is because normally I'm steelhead fishing, so I haven't quite figured out like the transitional largemouth bite, which hopefully we will have some time this fall to put some time in. Now that we have Mega Live, Hummingbird Mega Live forward-facing sonar on the boat, hum in. There's
no G.
I like the G. Put a G in there. Hummingbird. You know, I'm a Lawrence. I was forever a Lawrence guy, so it's a new world for me. But no, it's fun. I've used them. I know how to navigate them. I have to remember to hit the menu button and not the view button when I want to go through settings, because then it messes everything up. But we'll get there. We will get there.
It's a different arrangement, but you'll be there in no time. But it's going to be pretty fun. And I'm sure there'll be some more boat content, boat reviews, and some more fishing content coming up on the Full of Fishing YouTube channel. If you guys are not subscribed to Andy's personal YouTube channel, that is down below in the description. I highly encourage you guys to do that because
I've been slacking because I have no boat.
We should have gotten you on the kayak in the meantime. That would have been fun.
We had like one chance, and I think we were both in different places, and it just didn't work out. So, oh well, next time.
That'll be all right. Either way, look out for a bunch of content coming up. I got a bunch more tournament content coming up on Be the Fish. That is down below as well. And good grief, we are getting spammed with the bots in these comment sections tonight.
Got that one first.
We got the big Hobie Tournament of Champions coming up in about 3 months. 3 months on the dot, I think. I leave November 3rd.
Louisiana man.
Yeah, down in old Louisiana. But before that, we got New York State Championships coming up in 2 weeks. So looking forward to that. That'll be on the channel. And then I'm thinking I'm going to hop in the Ike's Charity Kayak Tournament coming up on October 2nd. Excuse me.
Nice.
I think that one's going to be some fun. It's down to PA, so might as well just go drive down and keep the brain,
What lake
fresh.
is that on?
I'll have to pull it up. I can't not remember. But either way, it's got to keep the brain fresh for TOC. So going to go down there, film a bunch, pumping out a bunch more content. I have like 14 videos on my drive here that I need to edit and put out. So it's going to be a lot of editing coming up here soon. Work's keeping me busy, but we're going to keep pumping out these shows, and we'll have our fantasy fishing recap posted here soon. We'll let you guys know what dates that's going to be at, so look forward to that. And again, for folks that are still listening right now, our code for Omnia, the Sirius 20, the 20% special that we're doing until September 5th is still good. So go use that site-wide on your entire order. Because after September 5th, it goes back down to 10%. So if you want to make hay with the 20%, go use that now. Links down below. Got our code, as well as our discount codes are always in the description. So, Annie, you got anything else left for the folks before we sign out here tonight?
No, thank you everyone as always for tuning in, and we will see you on Friday.
Yeah, Friday show is going to be fun. Let me actually pull up who we got coming on here. We got a bunch of shows coming up in the next few weeks. So here's kind of a schedule layout for you guys. So Friday's show is going to be our friend Mr. Brennan Chapman from Do It Molds. He's going to come on here. We're going to talk some juice. You guys are not going to want to miss that one.
Sweet.
And then next week we have Ben Milliken coming on the show. Ben Milliken, we're going to talk some big summer to fall swim bait fishing. We got Austin Felix coming on the show, the champ at Lake Oahe. And then we'll have Justin Atkins coming on here shortly. It's going to be a heck of a lot of fun. We got a really cool list of guys coming up on the show, and maybe some royalty that Cooper mentioned in the show might be coming on the show here too.
Yeah, there might be some real big hitters coming, so stay tuned.
That's right. We know you guys don't want to listen to us scrubs, so we're trying to get the right people on for you guys to listen and learn from. But as always, folks, we appreciate you guys. And if I can find my mouse here, we'll tune the show out. But as always, folks, we appreciate you guys, and we'll see you.